you know, I mean, at what stage do I try to make sense of? And past is past. We all try to get over the past.
But you still need people in the area. So
I don't want to talk about it as much as anyone. It's all past. It's not. It's frightening. It's fucking disturbing. But then, like, if I really am your son, it's like saying that why am I the one person in the world, like, above all your other kids? You wouldn't have a conversation with time to time about stuff like that. Like it's a story that doesn't exist.
Sometimes when things are so painful, you put them in the back of your mind.
Yeah, well, I understand that. But when you told me last year that Gary, fucking, when you were 23, kicked your jet black in the face when you were heavily pregnant with me off the couch. What am I supposed to believe in that? Like, what do you, like,
I don't know.
but I'm just saying.
I never told you all the years because I didn't want to paint a bad picture of him to you because you had never met him to voice your own opinion of him. So I never painted a bad picture of him to you when you were a kid.
How will he feel?
Okay.
That's why I didn't.
But then at what stage do I ever become an adult, have to hear a story like that and pretend that I'm not an adult, thinking of a 23-year-old woman in anyone's shoes, heavily pregnant, kicked jet black or in the face? How am I supposed to not look at anyone and say what above all fucking things, he could be a fucking deadly hard character. He could turn out to be, like, back then, just vicious, fucking dangerous. And that, for the life of me, is enough to render. To hear stories like that, how do I not look at it like a story in the paper and say a 23-year-old heavily pregnant woman was kicked jet black in the face off the couch? When you talk, it's like, again, I'll think of the elephant fucking man story. You know? And things like that. I don't know. But you've said that, and it's like, how am I supposed to make sense and say, paint a good picture of character because he was pushed away and told never come back? Like, you know, that's fair enough. That's how people do it back then or whenever. But not, you know, after all these years, you see people coming forward. Once I fucking honed in on him when I was working at... How do you think half the reason why I ended up losing my job? Full-time employed at Ipswich Super Bowl 2008 because of all the shit he was putting me through. Telling me he had fucking brain cancer and that he had more, a doctor with more letters to his name than a fucking alphabet. This big sob story, wanting to see me, but in the beginning tells me, so scared of me, like I was no one, as if to say I was someone trying to fucking ring him and he was going to slam his six-inch fist in my face. And the things he told me is like, you know, it just makes me think, what the fuck? But they're no sort of coming forward to anyone. And
so sometimes he talked to you nice and other times he talked to you like you were a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, at first, you know what I mean? But as he sort of warmed in because of the such congenial, nice-natured person that I am, only wanting to see my dad, you know, he
talked to you nice, he wasn't drunk.
Oh, well then Rachel, my sister, comes into it, you know? And then she tells me that, you know, she had to be subject to his fucking, you know, fists and everything, putting a knife to her throat and fucking all kinds of shit. And then I was like, that after which, like, you know what she did to me? Total cunt. And I didn't even do anything. I treated her nothing but like a fucking gentleman. Like someone that don't need to know all this shit and it wouldn't matter for the life of me before she know what she's saying. Why are you trying to come over and fucking help Dad with his fucking cancer as if you're going to fucking solve his fucking life or some shit? As if to say, I didn't even hear that coming. I didn't want to save his cancer. He's the one saying he's dying of cancer. But then to shrug me off like I'm nothing to her too. And all the years sending postcards and letters and shit that she did and fall out of contact and then finally show up again. What? So that's, what the fuck? Like, you know, as if I can understand keeping those things aside, but whatever he is, to do that to a 23-year-old, how am I supposed to not look at it anyone in society? Say, what kind of it? What happened since then? So that was obviously when? Like, when did you just get married? When was... I don't even know when the fuck you got married. When did you get married?
1978.
What date?
Was this a surprise? Yeah.
So, therefore, I was like, 78. So, you're already married before you had me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And divorced when?
Waiting for this day. Yeah. Have you thought about her over the years? Yeah. Always.
I can't remember.
They always ate.
I left in 1980.
Was it a process to get divorced or something back then?
No, you have to be separated 12 months.
Tell me about when you met Miriam's mother.
I just find it impossible to understand. Because you say a story like that, And I had to whip up this crazy stuff back then to tell you about my struggle, and then you would have told me what happened to you then. You told me that 12 months ago I was at Shannon's after I'd left Cree Street. And then to hear it like I already sort of knew it in the back of my head, something fucking absolutely fucking terrible went wrong. And then forced to do what? Make a comparison and draw on the evidence that I've witnessed in my 37 years on God's great earth, and only piece it together using common sense to dissect all of it. So there's much more than that going on. I don't know if you know, of course I do know, and I dare say that anything that I put forward in a just talking about it would be almost be like an element of truth to all of it, based on just what I know or what I've experienced or what I've seen or anything I've witnessed. What kind of a fucking animal kicks a fucking woman, 23-year-old, 23, heavily pregnant off her own woman? So he was obviously married to you. At the coast. Just by yourselves in a room or something.
Yeah, that's why.
What, just in a holiday home? Yeah, but what suburb?
I can't remember.
Oh, just up Sunshine Coast or whatever.
Caloundra. What is it?
Go from Zador to England and never.
Can't for the life of me, like, you know.
That was happening. And she never came back. Never come back, yeah.
So it's one thing to keep the nature, his good nature side or something like that to me.
It was very hard for me.
But anyone else I know in the world,
It felt very, very bad.
if I try to draw on a mentor or a father figure.
But was it possible for me? I was poor. I had no money to go over there.
What am I supposed to make of him?
Nobody helped me.
What am I even supposed to think of? You know, I'm related to Jared McCracken, and it's one thing to know he's successful. Does he sort of have like fucking riches or some shit stashed away illegally? Is he like a caretaker? Or I don't know what the... Well, I don't know, do I? I don't know for the life of me, and who the friggin' hell would? When I contact him for several years on Facebook and only get back to me every like 6 months or something because he's so busy, and he said that, but doesn't even know that I exist on the world map. Didn't even know in the sense that that Gary, you know, I'm Jared's first cousin. Because him being a celebrity, you know what it's like, Facebook's, you know, social media. I could be anyone, posing this, that, and anything. I don't even know if Gary's real mum. I don't even know if that's someone in a pseudo alias or a depot name acting like him. If he could just be sitting there with a friggin' black book of history sitting there if he ever got a phone call to just refer to shit. I know the more he talked about it, it was him, or whoever the hell it was. But only try to make sense of it then and wonder what the hell. Neglect. I can't draw comparisons and like get on with life is get on with life. There's so much I just fucking sacrifice and get on with life. And it's always a case where other people are falling apart around me. Like, yeah, the people have got real fucking past and real issues and they're trying to get over it and it's enough to keep them there. Pinch it up and all frozen stiff when they speak about it or have to think about it. And not even for a life see people not even render or understand the fucking hell I've fucking gone through to shine with a freaking smile. Not because I'm a fucking young man, brave, strong, tough, courageous, impetuous that I can handle it. What kind of a fucking 23-year-old woman can handle that shit? You're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. What keeps you up half the time having to go through shit like that? You say jet black, like you mean literally jet black.
That part was that face.
Half your face, all kicked in.
It was black, bruised.
Not for a second know what it's like when I was 8 when Sean was only born in Lucas Street, 19 Lucas Street, Dimore. Steve, because I'm playing with Sean, Steve grabs me from the lounge room by my balls and cock, drags me 2 rooms into a fucking open room and picked me up by my balls and penis, 8-year-old, off the ground. I can't even recall, literally, I'm pretty sure my head wasn't on the ground. He picked me up like a suitcase, screaming. I go to the toilet and all that crap going on, bleeding fucking piss, bleeding blood, and you were there and I'm going, Mom, what's going on?
Our second search is on behalf of a woman.
And that never happened. Before you know it, I'm going to Dream World and fucking, Gold Expo 88 with Leanne and Murray McIntosh? Was that just to sort of get away from, was that to, like, to clear my memory of that happening? And that was 8 years old. And then, like, at the same time, in that fucking house, Mum, I don't even know if you were inside while it happened, that Derek, which is Leanne's brother, and Steve, I was under severe, massive fucking torment as an 8-year-old. They chased me around for 2 hours. Every corner and door I went to, they were jamming me up and doing most horrendous things. To the point where it was like being convulsed or being tantalised, tormented. By so long, they take me outside, they shoved chilies in my fucking mouth. Shoved it in my mouth and said, oh yeah, poor thing. Oh, here, take some water. And they had a hot bottle of water. Right? It was a bottle of hot water. After they shoved chilies that are growing on the side of the house, I jumped up onto I got up onto the fucking shed as an 8-year-old to escape this fucking horror and abuse. And there's Derek down there with Steve just laughing his fucking head off. And Derek there, come down, come down. Like a little kid, here boy. I jumped down and broke my fucking arm. So as a result of that, I went through all that fucking horrendous abuse and torment and broke my fucking arm. Green stick fracture.
They made a special thing of it.
An 8-year-old can remember that. As just like the way he picked me up like a suitcase with my balls and penis. An 8-year-old. What did I do to deserve that? Nothing.
But that also always...
That was commonplace, remember? Like when I was at Queen Street. Steve comes storming in the room.
Why didn't
right?
Mum try and keep me?
For nothing.
And then I thought, well,
I must have been doing my homework.
I can at least think...
He comes in like a raving lunatic. Scott runs underneath the bottom bunk into the corner all scared. I stand up like a Democrat, like a normal whiz kid, academic, what's going on? Do your fucking homework. He picks up my size 5 county cricket bat and hits me over the fucking back with it and hit me over the head. I wore a bump on my fucking forehead all those years until I got mental health medication that blew me out 34 kilograms, that haloperidol, and it took away all that fucking evidence. I wore that bump on my skull since a 10-year-old. He hit me over my own head with a size 5 county cricket bat and told me to do my fucking homework. Or when I'm sitting there at the table, 12 years old, nothing to provoke it. We're all sitting down having hot, stifling soup. He's sitting here, and I'm sitting right to his right. Did nothing, just fucking back fist in the face, didn't he? Busted up my lip, and then I wasn't even allowed to leave. I had to sit there and fucking eat a fucking hot stifling fucking soup. Stifling hot with a fucking spoon with a busted lip, blood pissing out and everything, and not a fucking person in the world. These are just few, and there's, you know how much, so much more. When Scott fucking took me to John's house at fucking John Street, Bundamba, from Dinmore. I come out of the fucking rooms, Steve ripped my fucking pyjamas off me like a fucking animal naked and started bashing into me. I'm 13 years old. He rips my fucking clothes off like a fucking animal and bashed me in the fucking kitchen floor. Till Scott had to fucking rescue me, like something came over him as a 15-year-old. He got a brand new motorbike from brand new mountain bike from John. So he had wheels, did he? So yeah, he knew once he got wheels to get the fuck out of there. He had to take me outside naked, go get me some fucking clothes, something to put on, and then he looks at Steve and says, you fucking poofed a cunt. And Steve's like, blah, blah, blah. He doubled me from fucking Dinmore to fucking Bundamba.
From just a name on a piece of paper.
That cunt ripped my fucking clothes off like a fucking wolf and an animal and bashed me on the fucking kitchen floor at fucking 13. And there's more to that. 8-year-old? I want to go back to this shit, and that was just... That's what I went through. That's why I was granted independence, and you're the one calling me 12 months later or something. Please come back, Damien, I need you. I needed what? To become, and all of a sudden I'm 38 having to read into this or think of it. What the fuck is that? I could sit there and I could isolate fucking 36 more stories of a kid, me as a kid. And to ever hear Sean say he went through shit half the crap that I went through, no one in that fucking house on God's fucking earth went through that shit.
And why was that?
That was subjected. Like when I was a fucking 8-year-old with who? Derek, Leanne's fucking brother? That shit happened, did it?
Because, yeah.
I went through 2 hours of fucking torture and fucking torment and hell from those cunts. Like it all wasn't designed that way. Look back on fucking Sean Kinney and Leanne Holland and all this fucking shit. I don't fucking know, Mum. But I went through that shit and yeah, I survived. I fucking survived. How the fuck can anyone sometimes look at what the fuck I went through and say, what? You survived, young man? That's worse than being in a fucking prison camp in fucking Nam. And I was a kid. So when you tell me at 23 my biological father kicked you jet black in the face, heavily pregnant with me, and I'm born premature, thinking that my mother can't even keep me in, I've got to get out. And it was like saying, what, you know? I'm here to help. Here to help. It's part of you. Win the main role in Wizard of Oz at 12. Bert Newton and fucking Nicky Webster stage play. And you tell me that Steve had the ultimate say and said I couldn't be part of it. How the fuck was he making that decision based on everything I was being treated and you knew it? Not a fucking fight in the world to get me through that. I went through all that audition, day after day. It's like Jesus in the fucking Bible where it says at 12 years old he goes into the Capitol. Speaking amongst the friggin' greatest scholars in the fucking land. He's better than all the scholars. Speaking them in the fucking Torah. It was like me with a voice, wasn't it? You knew it, we all knew it. That was my home. Like he says in the Bible, Mother, like Mary says, why do you treat me and your father this way, so Jesus? And he says, Mother, don't you know that I should be in my father's house? That was my place. The stage was my place. You could have compared me in the whole fucking earth, the only earth we live in. You wouldn't have found a better fucking voice in the land, let alone most of the world. And to get told I can't be part of even us, I romp the whole fucking audition right across the land. And I get told that I have to fucking stick to soccer and do my fucking homework. Only to make the fucking South East Queensland soccer team and get told I can't fucking play in that too. When I come off in Eisteddfod with the choir, soprano winning again, we won another Eisteddfod and get told that shit.
That was no one's fault.
No one's fault, but this is just subjection. That's what how do I go through that? What is it to even be a kid? It's okay, Bert Newton, nice nothing. But knowing where my right place is, my rightful place in the world.
Why do you think I can't watch The Wizard of Oz? Why can't I ever watch it?
Why do you think it's hard for me to listen to people's stories? Even the Bible.
Is this a normal outfit for people to wear? I don't know.
I know who I am. I am who I am. People might be who they are, but I am who I am. I'm Damien. I am Damien. My name is Damien James. That is the gospel truth in this time. The good guy, the really good guy. The one that has to put up with everybody's shit. The one that has to learn it all. That's right. I am who I am. Other people have their life. It's bullshit. Scale of time. I only wish for the life of me, people. I can't see it in this generation. There's no backbone. They just all talk, no hype, all balls, no brains. They're forfeiting every challenge they do. They put people in a spotlight where they use them like a light to shine through their fake facade. It's like an embezzlement racket all mixed in one, being the largest trade industry in the world. Something about embezzlement, the way in which people operate, credit, fraud, everything. The way in which they falsely accuse people, how they commit crimes and they pay someone to defend them. They don't even walk to jail. They don't tell the right story. It's all a pooled blank space modification. And here I am, as honest as you'll ever see. Honest. It's like, say that somebody doesn't lie. In my case, it's actually impossible to lie. I could actually say something, and it draws on a psychological call card in which to instigate or investigate. The old saying in Australia, a fucking detective is a fucking devil or a demon. Who gives a fuck about that? That's not my place. My life. I do speak the fucking truth. When you speak truth, It shows concern. And there's so much lack of concern in this world. It's like to be able to speak even is half the battle in this world. People don't have a voice. There's so much non-void. There's no voice anywhere. People aren't showing concern. When you show concern and voice up, not is it just confession, it's some of the bravest acts in the whole wide world, under heaven and everything. It takes a lot to speak and a lot to show concern, even to speak it. And it's none of your business. You could draw on something even in your own self-confession or a confession booth. I talk to myself, it's my only fucking confession booth. There's no fucking confession booth in this fucking land. And it's not a rendered speech either. Honesty, like Billy Joel says, honesty is such a lonely word. Because we're always honest to ourselves, but amongst people, no. That voice is non-existent. It has to be something that's like a